Hello, my name is Massimo, and I'm here to read you a story called A Medieval Romance. The Secret. It was night late in the year 1222. All was quiet in the grand old castle of Clungenston. And the Lord of Clungenston sat and thought softly. He uttered, "My daughter," a voice from the shadows answered. "Did you call, my father?" "My daughter," said the Lord again. "Come to me." A young man dressed in the clothes of a knight stepped forward. He had a puzzled look on his face. "Yes, father." "The time has come for me to explain something," began the Lord. "Something you have been wondering about all your life." He took a deep breath and went on. "As you know, my brother is Duke Ulrich of Brandenburg. Our father died long ago on his deathbed. He told us who would become Duke after my brother. Naturally, it was assumed that Ulrich's son would be Duke. If Ulrich did not have a son, and I did, my son would rule Brandenburg. If neither one of us had a son, Ulrich would have the power to choose the next Duke. So your mother and I hoped for a son, but instead we had a girl. It was you. It is you." The young man gasped. "My dream was slipping away," continued the Lord. "But wait," I said. "All is not lost, for I had an idea. Only a few people knew that you were a girl, so I had them all killed that night you were born. The next morning I told everyone you were a boy. Since Ulrich and his wife were childless, you were bound to be the next Duke of Brandenburg. Your mother and I have kept the secret of your true identity all these years, even from you." The Lord still had much to say. "When you were 10 years old, we received word that Ulrich had arranged for you to marry another duke's daughter when you were old enough, of course. But that has nothing to do. Worry about it. I have taken care of that. We are safe, for we have a son, and our son will be the next duke." The Lord looked at his stunned child. He said, "You have lived 28 years, my daughter. Have always called you Conrad. You have no other name. Now my brother is dying. He wants you to come to him. You will not be duke yet, but you will act as duke until he dies. You are to leave for his castle tonight. So listen well. Remember every word I say. There is an old law that it says that no woman may sit in the duke's chair, not unless she has been crowned as duchess. If she disregards this law, she shall die. So this is what you must do. Sit in the chair that is at the foot of the duke's throne. Say that you are doing this out of respect for the duke. Do this until you have been crowned. Then you will be safe. No one will know you are a girl, but we must be careful. Do you understand?" "Oh, oh, father," said Conrad in despair. "My life has been a lie. And for what? So I can betray my only uncle and deceive all of Brandenburg? Please, father, don't make me do this." "Enough. Don't be a fool," said the Lord. "You will do as I say. Go to your uncle now and do not upset my plans. That is enough." Is enough of this. all, all, all we need to know is this: the Lord would not listen to his poor daughter. He didn't care that she cried. So she rode away in the dark. She went to the castle of her uncle, Duke Ulrich, where she would continue posing as a man. Joy and fears. 6 days later, Conrad arrived in Brandenburg. The city was bustling with parties and parades in his honor, for the people knew that he would be Duke someday. The old Duke was overjoyed at Conrad's arrival. The greatest the great halls of the palace were filled with nobles. They all welcomed Conrad as well. Things were so pleasant that Conrad stopped feeling afraid. Meanwhile, in the far corner of the palace, things were very difficult. Lady Constance, who had been chosen as Conrad's future bride, stood by the window. She was alone and very sad, and she was crying over a lost love. You see, Conrad's father had sent the evil Count Denson to Brandenburg. Denzen's task was to win the lady's heart before Conrad arrived. If Constance ran off and married Denson, Conrad would be safe from having to take a wife. Constance sighed. "My handsome count is gone. Oh, why did my father, Duke Ulrich, have to find out about him? Just as he was going to take me away, Duke Ulrich drove him away. What am I going to do? I loved him so. Oh, what will become of me? I am lost, lost, lost." The plot thickens. Conrad quickly won the hearts of the people of Brandenburg. Everyone saw that he was kind and gentle, and wise and fair. A few months went by. Soon the old Duke let Conrad run the country. He listened proudly while Conrad made decisions and gave orders. Conrad loved his new duties. He took them very seriously, but he never sat in the Duke's chair. He always sat in the chair at the foot of the throne. During this time, Conrad got to know Constance better. She became a good friend by all measures. Conrad should have been happy, but he wasn't. He felt that Lady Constance was falling in love with him. and this could only mean danger. Conrad knew that his uncle was watching the two of them. The old duke was so happy to see the beautiful Lady Constance smiling again. So he tried to stay away from her, but this only made things worse. The harder he tried to avoid Constance, the harder she tried to be near him. She went everywhere that he did. Well, Conrad knew that things couldn't go on like this forever. Everyone was talking about it. Conrad couldn't eat or sleep. One day, Conrad walked into the hall. Constance was waiting for him. She took his hand and said, "Oh, why do you run away from me? What have I done? What have I said? I cannot hold back the words any longer. I love you, Conrad. There, hate me if you must." But I had to say it. Constance looked at Conrad, but Conrad didn't say a thing. She waited a minute longer, then she was sure that his silence could only mean one thing. Her eyes filled with joy. She threw her arms around his neck. She cried, "You do care. You can love me. You will love me. Oh, say you will, my dear, dear Conrad." Conrad groaned. He turned white and shook from head to foot. Then he pushed the poor girl away. He said, "You do not know what you are saying. It is impossible." As Conrad ran away, Constance began to cry. Up in his room, Conrad cried too. At last, Constance stopped crying as she left the hall and said, "To think that he hates me just when I thought he was beginning to love me. I hate him. He turned away from me, treated me like a dog, and now he must pay." The awful truth. Time passed. Constance acted cruel to everyone around her, and Conrad felt that she was constantly watching him. But why? Sometimes Conrad would catch her eye, and Constance would nod and sneer. It was although she knew a secret. But as weeks went by, Conrad relaxed. He smiled more and more, and he ran to the country wisely and well. And a strange whisper began to spread through the palace. No one knew where the story had started, but more and more people talked of it. Soon the whole city knew, then the whole country. And this is the whisper said. "Her Lady Constance has killed a man in cold blood." The Lord of Kungsleden was happy. He shouted, "Long live Duke Conrad!" Constance had been ruined. She is unfit to marry Conrad. She can never be Duchess. Great lords of Brandenburg came. The Hall of Justice was filled with people. Conrad was dressed in fine clothes. He sat in the chair at the foot of the Duke's throne. Never in the throne itself, of course. Great judges sat on both sides of him. The old Duke was not present. He had told them to judge Constance, to judge her for her crime, and he had gone to bed with a broken heart. It is said that he would not live much longer. This trial would likely be Duke Conrad's first official act as Duke of Brandenburg. Conrad felt sorry for Lady Constance. She had become so bitter during the last months, and Conrad felt that it was his fault. But he was Acton's Duke, so he had to judge her. The happiest person at the trial was Conrad's father. Conrad didn't know that his father was there, but the old lord had come to see it. Conrad was there to take his rightful place. Finally, the trial began. The Lord of Chief of Justice called Constance to the front of the room. She stood in front of everyone. The Chief of Justice said, "My lady, you have murdered an innocent man. Our law says that you must answer for your crime. Now the acting as Duke will explain your punishment." Conrad looked at Lady Constance. Tears came to his eyes. He opened his lips to speak, but Chief Lord Justice interrupted. "Wait, my lord. The law says you cannot judge from there. You must sit on the Duke's throne." Conrad's heart stood still, and so he did it for his father. For Conrad had not been crowned as Duke of Brandenburg, that he dare sit on the Duke's throne, but he had to. Everyone was looking at him. If he waited any longer, they would wonder why he walked to the throne and sat down. To Lady Constance, he said, "I am acting in the name of the Duke. Listen to my words. By the law of our land, you must die, unless if you can prove you're innocent. So save yourself. Prove that you killed no one." "I can do better than that," shouted Constance. She pointed at Conrad's father and said, "This man has committed the crime." Then he made it look as though I did it. Quiet fell over the room. It was so quiet that people heard their own hearts beating. Constance turned to Conrad. Her eyes were filled with hate. "And he did it all for you," Constance declared. Conrad gasped. He knew what Constance was about to reveal. "You see, Constance, your father would do anything to keep me away from you. Anything, that is, except tell the truth." "My dear, just what is the truth?" asked the weary Chief Lord of Justice. "The truth is that Conrad, who boldly judges from the Duke's throne today." Constance paused and looked out over all the questioning faces. "The truth is that your beloved Conrad is a woman." With that, Conrad fainted and fell to the ground, and so did his father. To be continued.